Well, hello everybody. We had our first visit from the police here in Gillette this morning. Apparently we've been parked out behind my son's house and daughter-in-law's house along the fence. They have an access to the rear of the property with a gate, and the property on the back of it is a storage unit that's very seldom used. It's pretty well deserted. So we figured we were in good shape parking back here along the fence. Thought we might be on my son's property still. If not, we were pretty close to it and weren't hurting anything. Apparently somebody called the storage unit owners and told them someone was living on the property here, which is really not the case. We've mostly been staying at my son-in-law's place out in the county, but we have been here for a few days off and on at different times, and apparently the vehicles were just here enough that it attracted attention. The officer that showed up was nothing but friendly and courteous and professional, no problem. He contacted one of the owners of the storage unit. The guy came down and saw we were okay, and the cop vouched for us that we were, seemed like decent people, and, that was it. They said to be fine. But just to be on the safe side, my son mowed down another section here of grass where I'm parked right now. That the property does go out a little further, so hopefully we won't have any more problems for the weekend. We'll park somewhere else, maybe my son-in-law's again after the weekend's, the holiday's over, and all the activities there. I did find it amusing. I'll throw this out here. It was not me that was called on. Apparently it was Deborah that attracted the attention in her van. Unfortunately, yeah, her van is a little more noticeable than the minivan. That's something I've touched on a few times in different videos, but if you're concerned about stealth camping and being real discreet, a minivan or an SUV or a passenger car you can get out of sight in really is just going to give you the best stealth. It's just they don't attract attention if you don't put a lot of stuff on the outside. Now in mine, for example, I do have the solar panel on the roof, but I mounted it low profile and painted it all black, and I've shown this van to multiple people now, including several law enforcement officers. I've given them a tour, and not one of them has noticed the solar panel until I mentioned it. So apparently it is discreet enough for stealth. But that's something to keep in mind if you're concerned with doing a lot of stealth camping, is that it's just going to be easier, something like a minivan or an SUV, something that doesn't attract a lot of attention. I think people expect to find people living in vans a little more often. So anyway, a few pointers for there. If you're thinking serious stealth, you need stealth. Definitely be conscious of what you're buying for a vehicle and try and get something that's going to fly under the radar and just isn't going to look like somebody's probably living in it. You will attract more attention in certain vehicles than others, and of course that does depend somewhat where you park too. If you're mostly boondocking or staying at campgrounds, it really doesn't matter. But if you're doing stealth, the more you can fly under the radar, the less chance you'll have problems. Another thing worth mentioning, when you do have an encounter with law enforcement, and it's going to happen if you're living in vehicles, it's going to happen sooner or later, and when it does, I have several relatives who are law enforcement officers, so I'm saying this is somebody who knows cops, and and I've worked as a journalist for many years and interacted with law enforcement that way, and I worked in emergency medicine and interacted with law enforcement that way as well, so I have a pretty good base of experience there to tell you that, in most cases, if you act courteously and professionally, act like a decent citizen, treat the law enforcement officers with respect, things are going to go better. And in many cases, if something like this, like a minor misunderstanding over where you can't park or can't park, they're just going to, either tell you to move on pretty soon or tell you to move on right then, but it's not going to be a problem. Also, another good reason to be careful that your license plates and insurance are up to date. They did run the datas on our vehicles today, and also to be careful about carrying contraband or any other illegal things in the vehicle, because if you live in a vehicle, we're going to have some encounters with law enforcement, so there's no sense creating an opportunity for some real problems for yourself. So just be extra cautious of that. That's about it for this video. It was, basically a non-event. Had to take a little bit of time to deal with it, but no problem, and everything's fine. We got it taken care of. Got somewhere else we're going to park for the next few days, and we'll try and spread out our parking around a little more after the holiday's over to reduce the chances of having any more problems with it. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.